everyone, this is Joe from What I'm Playing Now, and I am live with another game playthrough. Today we're going to play through the Seventh Continent. If you can't tell what this is from the symbol here, it says so on the side of the box. This is a game that I kickstarted. This is a game that had 2 Kickstarters, and the second Kickstarter was quite successful. They appear to only be selling this game via the Kickstarter, so if you didn't kickstart it, you may have to buy it in the aftermarket. I don't think, from what it sounds like, this is ever going to hit retail, they said. I don't know if they will ever be doing a 3rd Kickstarter or not. Maybe if they're at Origins when I'm down there, maybe we'll try to interview a couple of people from Serious Pulp and actually find out a little bit more about that. But when I had first gotten this, I was a little hesitant on whether I really wanted to do a stream of this. And Kim and I had talked about doing a stream of a different game today, but she was feeling a little under the weather. So I had been playing this recently, reading through the rules and everything, and I said, what the hell, let's just do a solo game and let's play Seventh Continent, since this is what I've been playing recently. And I think I'm kind of comfortable with the rules. Hopefully I don't make any rules goofs. We will say right now, 1, turn on your captions to the Klingon channel. In case if I do make any goofs, you will find any of the information there and post them in the comments, and I'll make sure to edit them in the video. Number 2, this video will contain spoilers. I am not going to try to hide anything. I am not going to try to keep spoilers down. This game will contain spoilers, and if you plan on playing this, I don't ever want to say stop watching our videos, but you have been warned. I'm not going to say it again. Spoilers ahead. I will put that in. I put it on the Twitch channel. When we went live, I will put it on the YouTube video that it contains spoilers. So let's go over a brief part of the rules and kind of see what we're doing in the Seventh Continent. The Seventh Continent is a strict card game. I have nothing but cards here in this box that are in front of me, and it's kind of like a choose your own adventure style game. It's really fun, and I've only played a couple of times. But so far, everything that I've found, everything that I've done with it, I really enjoyed. I'm really liking the scenarios. I'm really liking the adventures. And let's kind of get into how we're going to play the game. They have a whole setup that we went through, and I went through most of this already. As you can see, I kind of tried to set it up a good way for the video. I've already picked my character. I am going to play the character. Let's flip over to the window with the card. I am going to play the character H.P. Lovecraft. So let's jump over to the actual board that we have here. As you can see, I have the mat for the game. I also have some of the upgraded dice, which are the bone dice, which are really cool, and I have the miniatures here. H.P. Lovecraft, let's read a little bit about him. Shocked by his father's dementia and committal to a mental institution, Howard took refuge in reading and writing poems at a very young age. At just 17, despite his frail appearance and poor health, he was offered to assist an eccentric and influential editor at the Providence Journal in covering the first expedition to the Seventh Continent. This memorable experience would undoubtedly impact his future literary works. So I'm going to be playing as H.P. Lovecraft. His special ability that he has is during the result step of an action I am involved in, I can discard 1 card with the keyword Serenity from your hand or your inventory in order to apply the following effect. Each revealed curse card is actually worth a star. As an action, if you move to a terrain where there is an explorer or fire figure, it costs -1. Unless I am able to put up a fire, that's really not going to come into play because I'm playing a solo game. So only half of that will come into play. One of the first things they say to read at the beginning of any scenario, they say to kind of read this before you set off for a new adventure. The year is 1907. A renowned explorer, you have just come back from the first expedition on the Seventh Continent, a mysterious land that was recently discovered off the coast of Antarctica, and probably the very last terra incognita in the world. You are recovering from your adventure. Whilst reading the daily newspaper, you realize that several other members of the expedition have disappeared suddenly, for unknown reasons. Coincidentally, you have been lethargic for a few days, feeling feverish and finding it difficult to get up from bed. A cold shiver runs up and down your spine. You have to face facts, and evil is consuming you from within. At nightfall, you fall into a restless sleep without knowing that, for you, this is only the beginning. Basically, The idea of the whole game is that you've gone to the 7th continent, you've done some exploring, and you've come back and you're cursed. The object of the game is to get this curse removed, so you're going to go back to the 7th continent and actually start exploring again. The clue, I guess you could say, that is the main part of the game I am doing is going to be the Voracious Goddess. And it has a map on the back side. The symbol that's on here is the satchel symbol. So this card is actually going to go under a card I have over here, which is the satchel card. My clue is, since you returned from that expedition, the vision of a strange, gloomy idol that seems to be calling you has been haunting your nights. The piercing cries of a few seagulls pull you out of a deep slumber. They sound so strange, as though they were laughing. You try your best to understand, where on earth are you? How did you end up in this place? Your memories are clouded and you seem unable to remember. While sifting through your journal, you come across a handwritten sheet upon which something that looks like a route was drawn, along with several statues. And so it happens, one of the statues look exactly like the idol from your restless dream. On the bottom of this card, it says, I begin the adventure by putting an O10O card into play. Each player takes their figure and places it on there. So I'm going to place this card, since it has the journal signal sign under my satchel and journal. I have the O10 card here in play. I'm going to read the little bit of flavor text that's on the back here. Thick columns of yellowish smoke rise up from cracks in the volcanic rock. To the east, the peaks of a rocky cliff look down, mocking the ocean below. So I'm going to put that in the center of the board. I will put my little figure on there. Whenever you put a card out, if there are these gold symbols on there, let me flip over to here. I'm just going to show you a couple of these cards at the beginning of the game. The way they have these gold symbols with arrows on them, that is to signify I am to put out some of the other adventure cards which are here. I'm going to give these a quick shuffle from the last time I actually played. These are number 1 cards, and they go along with the number there. So we're going to put these kind of like depict like a fog of war. So I actually don't know what's there. They could be items, they could be events, or different things can kind of happen whenever you go to explore one of those. So that is most of the kind of setup for the game. How do you play? On your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to take an action. Let me flip over to the right screen here. There is a full list of actions that are on the board here that are all of these white things that are listed there. There's a bunch of them. On your turn, you're essentially going to take one of those actions, and there could be an energy cost on there, which is depicted by a blue diamond with an X, or which would be a number in there. If there is a plus symbol, you can draw more from the cards that we have over here. So if it says 2+, I can draw I have to draw at least 2 cards. I can draw more if I want. The next symbol on there will be a gold star with a number in there. In the rules over here, they say X. And what I'm trying to go for is, on some of the cards, there will be stars on the right banner of the card. I am trying to get that number of stars on the cards that I've drawn for this specific work that I'm trying to do. And whether I success or fail, I will read the white text for a success, the black text for a failure. That's kind of the gist of a lot of the game. I'll go through a lot of the other things as we're playing. I'm not going to go into too much details of much more with the rules. I think we kind of maybe just jump into the game. I'm going to set the rule book aside. I'm going to leave it over here. One of the other neat things that they actually have is, if you look in the rule book, they have a QR code in there, and they actually have different audio you can play while you're actually playing through the game. So for Area 1, I can hit play, and it sounds like you're kind of like by a watery coast, which, if you look over here on the picture, we're on part of an island that is next to the water. And you can kind of just let that sit off to the side and play. And it just keeps looping, which I think is kind of cool. And there's one for each of the different areas that you're kind of going to run into here. There's a little bit of music that might play in the background. You might hear some footsteps and stuff like that. It's it kind of sets the mood for actually what they're kind of going for, which is this choose your own adventure style of game. So I don't want that to be too loud, especially when the music starts playing. But I think we're pretty much ready to kind of get going with the game. I'm going to double check the rules, make sure I didn't miss anything as far as my setup goes. I don't think I did. We got all the exploration cards. We got the curse cards in there. I took my adventure cards. I put those out. I read all of my introduction text. Yep. And I think we're ready to go. So we're going to play the music softly in the background. We don't need it too loud. And I think we're ready to go. So my character is here on the first part of the island. I could do one of a couple of things. I have an action over here, which is going to be, I think that is the explore action. That's the go see or investigate action. So I can do that, which will be over here to the right, or I can basically flip one of these cards over for free. I'm thinking let's flip over the top card and actually see what we get. If you look on the card here, this is what I was referring to a little bit ago in regards to the blue symbol as well as the gold star. With a 0-0 there, this card basically is free to flip over. This card over here is kind of like my stamina deck, my energy deck. Once this depletes and all the cards are in the discard pile, whenever I need to draw cards, I will be drawing them from the discard pile. If I ever draw a curse card, that is how the game will end. The game can also end some other ways. If you run into some sort of monster or creature on the island, you kind of can die, and it will just say your adventure ends here. Those are pretty much the two ways you can end the game. To win the game, we're trying to lift this curse, and it will tell you when you actually do lift the curse. So what this card is, this is a spiky conch. This is actually an item. So I can actually take one of my dice here, and the dice only come into play whenever you're using the item. I have 4 dice available to me since I'm playing a solo game. And what I do is I will take this item, and it kind of goes into my inventory with the number 3 here. I've picked up a large shell, and I can blow into it. So I can use this actually for a combat action. I discard that to actually gain 1 star automatically. Or I can use it for music, which lets me give a cost of -1 to any of my blue actions. And gives me a star, which is going to let me successfully do something. So since that item went into my inventory, and I am allowed to have, for a solo game, I'm allowed to have 4 items in my inventory, and I can have up to 4 built items together on 1 item. We'll go into that later as we start building things out. But since that item went into my inventory, what we now need to do is, I have a blank space here. I see it says green 007. I'm going to look through all of my cards here. And if you remember when I was young, I had a lot of choose your own adventure books. This is kind of one of those parts, and they've depicted a game like that via the cards. So as I'm pulling out different cards, it's kind of like flipping through a choose your own adventure book and going to certain pages. So this kind of just told me to go to page 007. And 007 is further to the north, the terrain slopes steadily down into the water. So I'm going to flip this over, and I am now able to move over to there and do some actions, or I can stay where I'm at and do some other things. I think what we're going to do is I want to examine whatever is off to the right over here. So I'm going to have to, it tells me I got to draw 1 card from my deck over here, and it's 0 stars, so it's going to actually happen for free. So whenever I draw a card, and I just drew a club, I will that's going to be able to go into my hand, because you're able to keep 1 card from all of the cards that you draw in a turn, and put 1 card into your hand. The rest of them will go into the discard pile that we have over here. And this is actually very nice, because I can now craft a club, which I can use as a weapon, which might not be a bad thing to do very early on. This is considered a skill right now, so this is actually just going to go into my hand. I'm allowed to currently have, I think, 5 blue skill cards and 4 green skill cards in my hand. In a 1-player game, that is how many you're allowed to have. So right now I only have 1. The item is basically something different. The item is what the dice go on. The nice thing about the game is that, like I said, the dice aren't only used for keeping track of the items. They're used to keep track of the durability of the item. They're not used for combat or anything. The combat is basically, if you look over here, if I was to be in a combat or something and I needed to get some stars, the stars over here on the side is what you're trying to get a number of to be successful in some sort of skill or, crafting or something of that nature. Since I drew the card, it's automatically successful because it had a 0 gold cost in the star there. So I'm going to pull out card 005 next. So I'm going to look over here for card 005. There it is. You stand before a nearly 50-foot high rocky peak. So what it says on this card is the view from up there must be quite interesting. This has an arrow on there, which is kind of like a permanent card. This attaches to this card over here, and it has the same symbol as what the action is we just did. So that means I can't take that action again, which was basically to reveal this card. Now, what I did reveal here is I revealed a card that actually lets me climb. I can draw 1 or more cards, and I need 2 stars to actually do that. I really don't have any sort of equipment to allow me to build to maybe help me out with climbing. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to explore the island a little bit more before we actually do any sort of climbing. Although I really want to try the climbing. I'm a little nervous because I really don't want to fail this early in the game. Let me see if maybe we can find some rope or find something to craft. Because my club isn't going to help me with something like that. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend an action to actually move up to this part of the island. So for a movement down here, it tells me I have to spend 1 card. I will flip that over. It's a bolus. I believe this is another weapon that I can go ahead and craft. I am going to go ahead and throw this into my hand because this one actually costs less than the club. And it looks like I get quite a few. Why did the music stop? I don't know why the music stopped. It looks like I get quite a few stars for success on using this, and it actually costs less to craft this than it does the club. So we may be crafting this if we run up to something, and I'm wondering if I should craft it now, because it does have a single use in case if I do run into anything over here. And actually, I think that's actually what I'm going to do. I think I am going to go ahead and craft this. Although I don't have either of, oh man, if I move back to here, I actually have a stone. It would let me save a card. We're going to hold off on crafting that, I think. I think we're going to hold off. We're going to try to wait till I do here because one of the items that you can use to craft that is stone. There is the stone icon down here, so that would actually save me a card. So hopefully we don't run into combat up here. But let's see if we can continue exploring. I think we're going to do this action over here, which seems to be kind of like a little eye. That is going to be the spot or observe action. This is a 0 cost energy action as well as a 0 gold cost action. So this actually just comes into play, and it looks like I just get to draw an 011 card. So let's go ahead and draw a 011 card and see what we find here. And there's different colored cards in the box. There are these green cards that you've been seeing me draw, and there are also some gold cards that will have the same number as some of the other cards in there. You always draw the green cards first. You only draw the gold cards if you're out of the green cards. So, and they always say double check and make sure that these cards are either, have been discarded, they have been removed from the game, they're banished or something, because you always should draw the green cards first. So for this 011, if there is a purple symbol card under your satchel journal card, you may apply the following effect. Instead of revealing this, you may return it, and in place of it, take the card whose number is equal to 11 plus that flag symbol from the adventure deck if available. We don't have anything of that symbol that matches this, so we're going to be flipping over this 11 card. There is a man lying face down among the rocks. Approaching closer, you notice his clothes are torn and tattered, and his body is swollen and puffy. Parts of the body are mutilated. The man's skin bulges with what looks like large eggs. So this is going to come over here and attach right to this. Don't know if we're going to do anything with that yet, because I kind of want to come back to that maybe after we have a weapon. So I think what we're going to do is, what is this symbol up here? I think that's the Explore, the Go See or Investigate. I think we're going to go see and investigate this 018 item card up here. So we have to flip one over. It's an instant success. We have Friction Fire. Put a fire figure into play on your terrain card. Discard this card, or if you fail, you just discard the card. So that might let us put fire into the terrain. And I think what we might do is go ahead and move back to our main spot here, because having fire into play actually allows you to move onto that space for free, which is a very interesting thing. So as of right now, there really isn't too much else to do on this particular card besides kind of like explore this guy's body. But like I said, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to spend an action to actually move back. I'm going to flip over a card, and luckily I got some rope. So this is exactly what we wanted. So we're going to start crafting some things now that we're back here at the main part of the island. And try to get ready to do a couple of things. So I have 4 dice. And before, when I played this game, I wasn't crafting as much stuff as I probably should have been. And so I think that's the reason why this time I'm going to try crafting a little bit more than I was before. I think the first thing we're actually going to craft is going to be, let's do this bolus. That's going to cost me 1 card, since it does have a stone here. I'm going to flip over a card here. And it's a walking stick. So I'm going to go ahead and take that into my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I can have up to 5 blue. And I'm going to move my cheat sheet over to there because I'm got so many cards out here now in front of me. The bolus is actually going to get created. So I'm going to set that over here, and it's going to go from my hand, which I kind of have in front of me here, over to my inventory. And I'm going to put a 1 on there, since it basically has 1 use. So I now have those 2 pieces of items made. The next thing I actually want to make is, I think I want to do this Friction Fire. I don't have any wood, so this one's going to cost me 2, but it's also an instant make. I can't really fail on this one. It's just costing me kind of like energy, stamina to actually do these things. So we're going to flip over 2 cards. So 1 is learning by doing. I can discard this card during the cost step of an action you are involved in order to apply the following effect, -3. The next thing I have is a camouflage outfit. It actually is going to help me out in combat, but I think learn by doing, having a cost of -3, might be a little bit better in the long run. So we're going to keep that card. As I mentioned before, I can only take 1 card into my hand at one time. And we're going to go ahead and discard this card. It goes face up into the discard pile. And that's the start of the discard pile. So what I did was I drew my 2 cards. I did my Friction Fire. I was successful because I can't fail. Oh, actually, you know what? I did that wrong. I think I was doing crafting. Okay, so I had to craft this. So this has a one-time use as well. So now that I crafted it, I see how this goes. Now that I crafted it, it has a 1 on there. So now I can actually take the action where I have to do 1 card or possibly 2. And I'm looking for a star on that card. So let's go ahead and take that action. It's basically a create the fire action. So what I did was I kind of created the Friction Fire first, what I'm going to use to be able to do that. Now I have to actually do the fire. So I'm going to flip over a card and hopefully I get a star on there, and I did. So I was going for a skill here, and what I was looking for was this 1 star here. So I get to actually 1, 2, 3, 4. I can actually put this in my card. This is, remember, it's kind of like a think action, I think is what this is, because it has, yeah, it's a think or compose myself. I can choose 1 skill card in the discard pile and add it to your hand, and then I can discard this. And that's basically a free action because it's 0 blue, 0 gold. So I need to remember that I have this. So if something ends up good in the discard pile that I want, that may be kind of good to actually get. But what I did was I've used this Friction Fire. So since I used this and it only had 1 use, the die is going to go away. I can put a fire token into play here in the middle of the ground into this area. And this card then gets discarded since it was used up. So that gives me 2 items back in my inventory. And I think what we probably need to do is let's do the rope next. And I think that's going to allow me to then climb this wall over here and actually see this, which, a little hint, I've never actually done before. So let's see where that's going to take us next. So we're going to build the rope. The rope has an energy cost of 3. So I'm going to flip over 3 cards. I can't fail on this. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, interesting. There are a couple of different things over here. One is a woven cord, which again lets me put a fire into play. I've already put my 1 fire into play, so I don't think I'm going to keep that. I had Lucky Star. I can discard this card during an action I am involved in to apply the following effect. -2 blue, so I draw 2 less cards. And or a Lucky 7. A Lucky 7, you will sometimes see the number 7 where those stars were that I showed you in that side panel there. They are basically kind of like a golden star and give you an extra win point for whenever you're trying to do something. It's a success point, basically. Or I have a bow here. I kind of already have multiple weapons. I have 1 bolus. I have this club. They both cost kind of the same amount. I think I might keep this Lucky Star 7 to help me out, maybe lower the cost of some of these kind of things that I'm kind of doing around here. I don't know if I really need a 3rd weapon. I really think that's kind of overkill. So I think what I'm going to do is, since I just kind of built or did a construction for the rope, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard these 2 cards, the bow and the woven cord. I always have that remember card to be able to pull one of these out if I ever need another weapon. So I think we might save that remember card for something like that. This Lucky 7 card is going to go into my hand. I'm still at my 5 card limit. I just crafted my rope, which is going to be another crafted item. I'm going to set this over here because I have a feeling we're going to be using this here very shortly. And this actually has 4 uses on it. So now whenever I use it, whenever I go to do a climb action, I will get -1 to the blue cost. So this would actually be free. Or I get a star and a 7 star. So I do need 2 stars for there. So I probably will need to at least flip over 1 card to be able to do this. So I'm trying to think. I think I may flip over. So it's going to be free. Trying to see what I want to do here. I don't have anything with strength. The climb action is the only thing that's going to match there. -1 and plus that, plus that. So I think we're going to go ahead and flip over 1 card and hopefully get a star on there. So we're going to use 1 of this, so it's going to go down to a 3. We're going to flip over a card, and it's a curse card. So, of course, we had to fail at least once. So a curse card, as you can see over here, is there's going to be 4 of these in the deck besides 1 main curse card that was mixed into the cards. This basically doesn't have any stars or anything on there, so essentially what I did was I failed at that. So what it says here is when you fail, I fall to the unforgiving stony ground below. Each character involved takes a 104 card. So I'm probably going to get injured here, which is what I was trying to avoid. I knew I should have drew 2 cards there, but sometimes you try to avoid that, but you can't. Superficial burn, deep cut, or fractured bone injuries on the 7th continent can be extremely life-threatening. I'm injured. I can get rid of this by drawing 2 or more cards and getting 3 stars, which is basically trying to just heal myself. But I think we're going to keep this card in my hand. Whenever you get an injured card, there will be a red hand symbol on there. There could be another symbol underneath there that has kind of like a blue hand skill on there with like a red X on there. If you ever see that, based on the number of red hands that you have in your hand, which are, I can't remember what those cards are called now off the top of my head. Let me look at the back of the book here. I think it says it. A state card. And your main character card actually has a red state hand on it, so that's a state card. So whenever you draw one of those, sometimes what you might have to do is discard a card from here directly into the discard pile. Since I don't have that blue icon on here, this just kind of goes into my hand. You can have multiple state cards in your hand. You could have, there is no limit to the number of state cards in your hand that you have. The only limitation with the state cards is that if you have multiple, if you draw a card that is named that's named the same state as another card in your hand, you discard the state card that's in your hand and then keep the other one. So that's the only thing. So you can have multiple states in your hand, but none that are the same name. And the first time I played this, I think I did that wrong. I think I was playing on super hard level and keeping all the state cards. So I'm going to try not to make that mistake now. So I am injured right now. It doesn't look like I have any limitations to trying the climb again. So before I try to heal myself, what I might do is, and I probably should just heal myself first, just to probably play it safe. And I'm trying to think of how, I really don't have anything that's going to give me stars to healing, per se. Yeah, I really don't have anything for healing. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to just climb the mountain again. I'm going to draw 2 cards this time. So I'm going to use my rope, which is going to take it down to 2. So I still have 2 uses left on it. So there's part of a star and there's stars. So between my rope having a star and the star that's on here, I have my 2 stars. So a couple things I want to show you. We're going to flip over to this. This card I haven't shown you before. This is an actual card that goes along with my character. If I was doing a multiple player game, whoever is participating in the action, any person participating in the action can get to keep one of those cards that comes out from the draw here. The only thing is, if it's a character card, the character who is on that picture, who's on that card, they are the only ones who can take that card. So since this is H.P. Lovecraft, I can only take that card. If somebody was playing another character, I could not give this card to them. So these cards are specific to my character. And this is an imaginary friend, and what he does is he helps me pray, he helps me think, or he has a key on him. And the key symbol is for opening, pick lock, lock picking, or closing. It would help me a -1 on that, or give me a plus star. So I'm trying to think if I want to keep this to be able to craft this later on or not. The other card is a think card. I can randomly take up to 7 cards from the action deck. I can add 1 skill card to my hand and must shuffle the other cards back into the action deck. Okay, that's interesting. So that would have like a one-time use of basically just being able to draw the cards. I think I'm kind of going to keep the cards in my hand right now. The walking stick might not be bad. I don't know how much more I'm going to need with the rope. But I could probably put the walking stick maybe under the spiky conch. Which might bump that up some. So I think I might keep what I have in my hand right now. I don't think I'm going to take either of these 2 cards, because I still have that remember card, which will allow me to bring one of the cards back. So I successfully actually climbed the rock. So it says O26 and discard this card. So this card here is going to get discarded, and I forgot to pull out one other card. There is one other card that needs to go up here into the corner, and you probably won't be able to see it. I will try to put it right over here next to some of the things. This is the past. This is where the adventure cards go. They go into the past. So this card would actually go here. I am drawing 026. So let's see what we have new here with 026. Flip over to something new that I've never seen before. Finally, you make it to the top of the rocky peak. The ocean stretches as far as the eye can see in every direction. This volcanic island is only about half a mile long from what you have seen. The resources look too scarce for you to survive here more than a few days. So this looks like it's a temporary event. You notice a path to the south, apparently free of any jets of steam, constantly looking for an easier means of access. You carefully walk back down from the peak. So on the card here, it looks like there are yellow, oh, and I flipped over to the wrong screen, yellow bits of steam here. So I need to remember that because that may come into play here later on. This, it says banish the terrain card you are standing on and replace it with a 010 card. All right, so I'm standing on a 010 card, so I'm going to get rid of the 010 card. So let's see what happens here. All right, so this is actually going to get me the gold 010 card since we just did this. So since this is a temporary event, this card is going to get put away into the past. We're going to remove my character here. This card is going to get banished. Since it says banished, this actually gets removed from the game and goes behind into the banished card. So I'm going to put that back in the box there. And now 010 comes out. It has the same number of arrows here, but now it looks like, did I forget to, no. Okay, that's interesting. There is now a path opened to the south that was not there before. So this card kind of looks similar to the card that I kind of just banished. But if you look at the card over here that I just put away, as you can see, there was no card to the south, where this new card actually does have an area to the south. And also, there's nothing over to the east of the card. This is the card that I actually did the skill on. This one doesn't have anything like that over there. So this is the card that stays out. This is the card that's getting banished. So I'm going to put my fire back on there and put my character back on there. So I now have a couple of different things I can do. I can come over here and actually search this body, which I'm not really sure I want to do right now. We might just leave that body there and come back to that at a later time. I think I want to go south. To actually see what's down there because I've never explored this area of the game before. So let me flip back to the main board and get rid of the side shot there. So we're going to spend an action to do that. This is going to be the Pathfind Escape action at basically 0 cost, 0 stars. So it just says flip this. We have a green hand card, which is one of the first times we're seeing one of these. This is actually referred to as a bonus card. It's a companion, positive state, or side quest. This will go into my hand because I can have 4 these bonus cards in hand besides 5 of the blue skill cards in my hand. So habits and customs. Thinking back on the last few days before you left the expedition, you remember your excitement at the prospect of all the discoveries you dreamed of making. If players have 3 or more cards with the keyword fetish, take a 420 card and banish this. I have Explorer, Will, Aggressiveness, Stamina, Serenity, Skill, Aggressiveness, Music, Aggressiveness. I have nothing with fetish in my hand, so I guess we're going to let this go into my hand, since we are allowed to put those cards into hand. But that could be a side quest that we might be able to complete later on. So since that card is now gone and that has come into my hand, it looks like we get to put out a 004 card. So 004 is right here. Progression in this direction is hampered by many jets of boiling steam. It seems you have to take a steep path to reach the ocean that you can see below. So this is going to come into play now. We have one orange card over here. I have a feeling these are all going to be level 1, so this one's going to go over here. There's more stone down here, so if I actually wanted to use a stone to make my club or something, I probably could. I don't know if I'm going to need the rope anymore, so that might be something that's interesting. So I think what we're going to do is, I think we're going to go ahead and spend, it's free to actually move off of the center one. So I'm going to go ahead. What did it say about the fire? I'm pretty sure fire. Pretty sure fire lets you move freely with the exploration. I'm going to double check that real quick and see if it actually talks about fire under the movement section. They don't say fire there. Exploring the continent. Moving to another terrain card. I thought the fire let you move onto that spot for free, but I'm not finding it right now in the rules. I think that's how we're going to play it right now, because I'm pretty sure that's what I had read later, or earlier today. But I can't remember where I read it. All right, so I can move off of here, and we're going to move there for free. And now I have a couple of different things that I can actually do. I can do spot or observe, which I think is going to be the first thing that we do. And that's going to be card 035. And since these cards have a 0 cost and 0 gold, we're just going to be exploring a little bit and see what we find before we actually have to start spending some stuff on there. So you find a moss-carpeted hovel where you can get some rest and comfort away from the elements. Immediately after this is revealed, one involved character may choose one card with the keyword stamina in the discard pile and add it to their hand or shuffle it back into the action deck. Immediately after this is revealed, one involved character may choose one stamina card with the keyword stamina in the discard pile. Alright, so let's find a... Hopefully we have something with a stamina card. Oh, and we don't. There is nothing. There's clothing, stealth, vigilance, skill, will, serenity. So there is nothing there. Now this looks like it's a permanent card. And it looks like it attaches to this. But it really doesn't show where it would attach. Because it almost kind of looks like it would go like this, but none of your cards are supposed to go like that. 035. I drew the right card. Although this does have a use on here of basically being able to rest or heal, which might allow me to actually give me a free star. I think what we might do is actually heal with this card. And use this. So we're going to heal. It could be -1, draw 1 card, but it's going to give me a star. I need 3 stars to be able to heal. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually still going to draw 2 cards to do this, but it's going to give me a star. And actually I only need, well, thank God I did that, because I drew another curse, which wouldn't have given me anything, so we're just going to discard that. But the card I actually drew had 2 stars on there, plus the 1 that's on this card. So that's actually healed. So this actually injury gets returned to the box because it says return this. So this is going to go back to 104. Let's find the 104s. And we're going to put this at the end of the 104s since we just ran into that one. Now this one, Valiant Heart. You may discard this card during the result step of an action you are involved in order to apply the following effect. 2 stars and take a 101 card. I kind of like that. So I think I may get rid of the walking stick actually and discard the walking stick and keep that. And what I probably should have been doing during some of my action sequences is going through all of these different things to making sure I'm doing all this right. But I'm pretty sure I don't think I'm missing anything because it's pretty simple. The next time I do that, I will do that. I think this 35 card here, like I said, it's supposed to attach to this somehow. So I think what we're going to do is attach it to the bottom of the card. That seems like the most logical place to put this because it doesn't seem like it goes away. I'm pretty sure that arrow symbol on there means that it is a permanent event that must be put into play, oriented the same way as the other cards on the board, with its placement arrow pointing to the terrain card your figure is standing on. So yep, it must go on the south here because there's nothing else that can really go there. So that's how that must be positioned. Okay, we figured that out. That was a good one. Okay, so we've done that action. Now, since this arrow here does have that, that symbol on there for the spot or observe, I'm not able to do that again. But we have other things we can do on here. We do have this symbol down here that's on an 008 card where we have to spend a card to actually draw this 008. And I believe that will allow us to go see or investigate. And I think that's what we're kind of going to do. We're going to spend 1 card, fire making kit. I'm going to go ahead and just discard this since we already have our fire made. We really don't need to make a second one. So we're just going to go ahead and discard that into the discard pile. 008 is going to come out right now. So let's see what we have next on our island here. I can find 008. There's 008. You gaze upon the wide, endless ocean. The surf is rough and choppy, and the salty spray from the waves is enough to tell you that the water is freezing. Swimming will certainly not be easy. On the other hand, if you stay here for more than a few days, you will likely die. This is an action. It has a staircase on there. What the staircase actually means is everybody that is in the party would have to take this action if necessary. It is a swim action, and it looks like it could get us something interesting. But I don't think we're ready to do any swimming yet, so I don't really think we want to do that action. So I think what we're actually going to do is we're going to come over here and we're actually going to do the action for Pathfind or Escape. We're going to do a Pathfind. We're going to flip this for free. And lunch. A plump seagull is hopping around just a few yards from you. If you are a vegetarian, just ignore it. I can actually do a combat. And since I have my bolus, I can actually attack this. But then I have to go ahead and make the club. Food might not be a bad thing, though. It might be kind of good to get some food right now. So I think what we might do is use the bolus for combat. Although, man, I hate to use that bolus. I think what I might do is use the spiky conch, which actually is giving me a +1 star. And then I can draw 1 more card and hopefully get that. I don't have anything else. I could use my Valiant Hearts Shall Not Fail card, but I really don't know if I want to do that. Because the seagull will just fly away. Maybe I can get food someplace else. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to use our spiky conch. That has 3 uses. We're going to take it down to 2. So let's actually follow through the action sequence right now, the resolution step. I'm using an item. So sometimes what they say is maybe move the die down into the middle of the card so you know you're using that. It's going to give me +1 star, but then I do have to discard this. So I'm only going to be able to get a one-time use out of it, since I'm using it for that type of effect. is what it kind of seems like. The cost is 1 blue, and I need to get 2 stars, so I'm going to flip over 1 more card. So I'm going to draw that right now. Since it has a lock on here, since it has a lock symbol, I don't think we've seen that yet. Since it has a lock symbol, that's one of the cards I was talking about earlier in the game. You can't draw. There's no plus symbol next to the blue skill card. So you can't draw more blue skill cards than the number that's on that blue diamond right now. So we're only going to get to draw 1 card, so that's what we have here. So that's basically the cost. I draw as many cards as the cost action. You may draw no more if it is, if the action is, I can draw more if the action's not locked, but since it's locked, I have to do that. You place them in front of you. You reveal the cards drawn, the cost in the setup. I probably should have done this the first time that I actually was reading through all these, so you kind of knew where I was going with all my stuff instead of just kind of doing everything. The result, I reveal it. If it's, you count the successes, full stars, total is greater than the number required. It's a success. If not, it's a failure. So we're going to flip this over. We got a star here. We got a star from our spiky conch, which we basically used. Oh, and I just dropped a card, which we're going to have to try to grab. The spiky conch is going to get discarded. My die is going to go over here. Lunch. I actually get a 001 card, and then I banish this. Then I got to figure out whether I want this dark side card or not. The following effect applies as long as you have this in hand. Prayer. During the consequence of the action of a success, you may take all of the cards in the discard pile and shuffle them back into the action deck. Oh, so this actually lets you last a little bit longer, but you're putting the cursed cards back into the deck at that effect. I'm not too sure we're going to do that. I need to try to reach down here real quick and get this die that I dropped and knock over a couple of our miniatures that we have up on stop here. This game does take up quite a bit of table space. So, all right. So we were successful. This card's going to get banished. We get to draw card 001. That's 000. There's 001. We're going to banish this card and put this right back here into the banished deck. 001 is some meat crustacean. Randomly take 3 cards, 6 if you have the fire resource from the discard. Ooh, we do have the fire resource because we have a fire out, I would say. 6 if you have the fire resource from the discard pile and shuffle them back into the action deck. Return this. Interesting. So this is an action we can take once we get back up into that center part of the land. I do need to put, I'm going to try to move these over here so I don't knock these around again. I do need to put a die on there because that is an item. So I have 3 items available to me right now. My rope, my bolus, and my meat crustacean now. So we actually have some food, which is a good thing. We can mix some of these cards back in there to actually extend our adventure a little bit. Which, from previous playthroughs on this, that's definitely a good thing. So, since we just did that, we now have to take card 006. And that is going to come into play, since that was an item that we flipped over. There is no smoke here. Some moss and even a few bamboo-like canes grow in this area. So we're going to flip this card over. And we can move over there. It looks like there is one place that you can actually do a spot or observe action. And that's kind of about it. So I think I'm guessing we probably should do that. Move over there. It's going to cost us 2 movement. That walking stick that we actually had before might have come into play handy here because that would have let us move a little cheaper. It's free to move there. So we're going to take our 2. I have 5 cards in my hand already, which I like. So I think we're going to go ahead and just glance at these real quick. You may take the following action unless there are experience points under the satchel card. I can take a 000 card. That's interesting. Or I get more experience. Take 1/0/0/3 card for each knowledge as power card in the hands of all involved characters. I think I discarded my knowledge as power card, so I don't really think that's going to come into play. Wild Imagination, that sounds interesting to take a 0/0/0 card. Especially since I've never had one of those cards before. I really want to keep this card. So I think what I might get rid of is my Remember card, which allows me to pull that card back out of the deck, I think. So I think we're going to do that. So that was our 2 movement. So we're going to move over here. Now over here I do have some bamboo as a resource, which I don't need. I don't really have anything that looks like it needs the bamboo resource. And the interesting thing about crafting in this game is you can craft anything at any time on any place that you're on. The thing that the resource icons do for you is just essentially lower the cost. So it's nice that you can pretty much craft anything at any time. But we're going to go ahead and do this action, which just causes me to flip this over. Think, randomly take up to 7 cards from the action deck. You can add 1 card to your hand and shuffle them back in. I don't really think I want that card. I don't need to worry about the stars because it was a free action, or it was a no cost skill there to be able to do this. But now we draw the 0/12 card. And our 0/12 card is right here. From the few tracks you spot on the ground, it seems that a small animal was recently here. You hide and wait in silence. So this is a combat action where you would have to draw 2 cards and you're looking for 2 stars plus. Depending on the number of successes you obtain, take the corresponding number of 0/30 cards. 2 to 3 is 1, 4 to 6 is 2, 7 plus is 3. Reveal them. If at least 1 character is bloody, you must discard 1 of those cards without the keyword predator. Choose 1 of the remaining cards, which represents the result of your hunt. Return the other cards and turn the green card into a gold card. We might actually do this. Because I can use my bolus for this and then create my club after that when we go back over to here and get more cards back into my deck. I think we're going to use the bolus for this. I think I'm actually glad I saved that for this. We're going to go ahead and do this combat right now. Since it's a lock, 2 cards is what I have to draw. I'm going to use my bolus, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up over here. Using it for combat, it's going to give me 3 stars and then 2 lucky 7 stars. And I think I'm actually supposed to count those as stars, if I remember correctly. For each 7 obtained during the result of an action step, the player involved in the... okay. So for each 7, it's worth 2 stars, is what that's supposed to mean. So I have 3 automatically off the bat. I'm going to draw 2 more because of this. Oh, one's a curse, and 1 is this. And actually, I get no more. So there were no 7s there. The curse is going to go away. Snowshoes, I don't think we need. So kind of had a bad draw there for that card. We do have our 3. So we only get 1 0/30 card. It would have been nice to have gotten at least 1 more star out of those 2 that we drew. But sometimes the curse cards comes up. There's not really too much you can do about it. So we're going to get 1 0/30 card. So let's go ahead and draw that first. Let's find that real quick in here. Oh, there's a bunch of them in here. So let's make sure we take the first one. Stone-eating crab. You spot a kind of small gray and red crab with short, flat pincers that do not really look like a threat. Take 1 0/0/1 card. Alright, so we're going to take a 0/0/1 card now. Another meat crustacean. That is kind of incredible, because at the fire, I'm going to be able to throw 12 cards back into my deck, which is going to allow me to extend my journey here. So I hope everybody has the afternoon free, because we might be at this game for a little while today. Since I took 1001 card, this card's going to go into the past. And I want to make sure I didn't put any of those other cards. This card actually should have gone into the past a while ago as well. Only the action cards are supposed to go into, the skill cards are supposed to go into over there. Choose one of the remaining cards, which represents the result of your hunt. Return the other cards, and I turn the green into a gold. Apparently there is not much more food in this desolate land than you have already found. You realize you had better ration what you have if you want to make it through. Immediately after this card is revealed, one involved character may discard 2 cards from their hand in order to choose 1 card from the discard pile and add it to their hand. So I don't think we're going to do that. We're going to leave that there. This card, return the other cards and do the upgrade. So I think this just gets set over here into the past. So I have 2 pieces of meat now, which are going to allow me to actually feast nicely once we get back to the fire here. But I think what we're going to do is, since we've kind of explored the whole southern part of the island down here, there really isn't much to do. I mean, I could come over here and do this swim action, but I don't have any equipment that's going to allow me to really do that. I think we're going to do the Pathfind action and actually explore this part up here. Oh, we have another bonus card. Relaxed. The clouds break and the sun bathes you in its warmth. You deeply enjoy this moment of respite. You may discard this card during the result step of an action you are involved in order to apply the following effect: a gold star or a 7-star. So that's going to go into our hand. So we have 2 bonus cards now in our hand. We're allowed to have up to 4. So we're still good there. We have our 5 cards here. So we're allowed to have a fairly big hand. Oh, that's right. Here's where it says, earlier I was looking for the fire. It's actually on the character card is what I was looking for. If you move to a terrain card where there is an explorer or fire figure, it's -1 movement. I knew I had read that somewhere. But this card got flipped over and we were going to the north, so a 009 card comes out. That's going to be this card right here. The ground is totally barren here. In fact, the only vegetation among your surroundings are clumps of red seaweed clinging to the plumes of yellowish smoke spurt from the ground from time to time, swirling around a dead seagull. We're going to drop this down here. We get a Fog of War card over here. And our Bolus, actually, this die should come back over here. And after that combat, this should have gotten discarded because it says discard this after its use. I still have 1 item left because I have 1 die left. I kind of need to get back there and cook the meat and get some of these cards back into the deck. We're about halfway through, I'd maybe say. So getting 12 cards back in there would definitely be awesome right now. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to explore some things up here, and then we're going to move back over here. Maybe create my club and come over here and see what we have over here. And take care of this body over here. Although I may just kind of let that sit. Not really too sure I'm going to play with that today. So we're going to move. So it's going to cost us 2 to move up here. So it's just going to be flip over 2 cards. So we have War Paint and Pan Pipes, which are combat cards, and one for music or thinking or fire, which I don't think we want either of these right now. So we're going to go ahead and discard these 2 into the discard pile. That let us move up here. Let's see what we have for some different actions, though, over here. We have a free action of being able to search and examine, which is just 13. I think that's going to be the first thing we do. Let's do all the free stuff first. Why not? Seems like the most logical thing to do. You walk towards the dead seagull. When you're just a few feet from it, a gout of steam spurts from the ground. Swiftly jumping aside, you manage to avoid getting burned. You may not be that lucky next time. I take 1003 card. The active player may discard one card with the keyword skill from their hand or inventory to take one additional card. Banish this. I don't have... Oh, my Lucky Star 7 card is... a skill card. I don't really know if I want 2 003 cards, so I'm only going to take one. So let's go back to the beginning of the 003s, if I could find them, because there are multiple 001 cards in here. There's a 2, 2, 2, 2. And they normally have these broken up by segments of about every 50 or so. Although the first ones, the first numbers, it starts off at 000, and then the first cutoff is like 004, and then it goes like 005, I think it is, to 50, and then those are all 50s, and then 51 to 100, 100 to 109. So they have these broken up into a very nice numbering style here, and there's a lot of cards that are extra for expansions. Oh, the one thing I did not pull out is the game actually comes also with this magnifying little piece of paper. There are sometimes can be numbers on some of these cards, and some of the things are kind of hard to see, so you can kind of use this magnifying glass to maybe find numbers or stuff that are actually hidden actually on the board if you want to look closely at some of the different things. I have not found... They showed you one in an example. Oh, there is one over here. There's a 014. There is a 014. We may have to... I didn't notice that at first. We may have to actually go back and look at that. I actually got an experience point. Tip: examine the terrain cards carefully. In addition, the potential hidden numbers, they may contain helpful hints such as animal tracks suggesting the presence of wild game in the area. But there is an 014 on that one card. I had not noticed that, and I really wasn't even looking for those until right now. So I guess we could go back. What happens if we actually find one of those? I think they gave that as an example in there. Spotting a hidden number. When players find one, they may discard the card on the spot and replace it with the card bearing that number. All right, let's spend... let's actually get rid of this. This gets banished right now. So... that 003 card is basically an experience point, which we will hopefully use later on to buy some advanced skills. You start the game off building this deck off with your curse cards. I think there's 5 curse cards, 1 normal curse, then 4 other curse cards that are thrown in there. 5 cards that are particular to your player, and then 35 actual just skill cards. Then there's advanced skill cards, which cost experience points. So I have my first experience point to actually spend if I ever get a chance to actually... buy a advanced skill. I think before we go back down there, I think what we might do is I think we're going to move over here first. So we're going to spend a card to move over here, because let's get some of these cards actually back into the deck. Woven basket, we're not going to keep. And then I think what we're going to do is actually do an eat. We're going to eat both of these crustaceans. Since I have a fire resource from the discard pile, I can take 6 cards and shuffle them back into... randomly take 3 cards, 6 if you... Yep, so this is random. So I guess what we're going to do is let's shuffle up our discard pile here. And I'm going to take this action twice, because basically eating doesn't cost me much of anything. And I'm thinking, let's use these so I can maybe actually craft a club, since we're on an icon with stone. Because I don't really see anything that's giving me any wood yet, or string. The only thing we have is bamboo. So we're going to do We're going to eat the first meat crustacean first. That's going to give us a die back. That's going to let us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take 6 of these cards back and shuffle those back into there. And then I think we're going to eat the other meat crustacean. So that is an eat or drink action. We're going to take that. This will then get put over here into the past. This will get put over here into the past. Oh, it says actually return this. So these actually go back into 001. I am glad I looked at that. So those go back into here. Like that. And then we're going to take 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put these back over here face up. Then we're going to grab our big deck over here. So we just got 12 cards back in our deck. I'm going to shuffle these all up. And then I think we're going to do some crafting real quick of a club, just so we have a weapon, in case if we run into anything as we're exploring the rest of the island here. I actually feel like I'm kind of getting somewhere in this today. The first time I kind of played this, I felt like I was... the game was definitely fighting me in playing it. I wasn't as prepared as I feel I am today. So let's go ahead and let's craft the club as an action. That's going to free up a card from our hand. We have our 3 dice back now, so we can do multiple items again. But we need a weapon, I think. Since we do have... one stone here, I think what we're going to do is we're going to use our lucky star, which actually lets us discard this during an action you are involved in order to apply the following effect, -2. We're actually going to use this card to take it to a -3, which is going to be a free club that's going to do that. So we're going to go ahead and discard this for my action. We're going to create the club basically for free, which I think is actually... as far as I'm concerned, it sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And I think we're then ready to move on. Moving off of this one is a free action, and I'm hoping when I moved earlier, I did not charge myself for actually moving. We're going to move back over here. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend 1 card, a shovel. We're definitely going to put the shovel into our hand, because that actually has bamboo, which we may actually spend to build. Although stone, maybe we'll build it when we get back up here, because stone is -2. So it would actually be less to build it up there. But we're going to actually find this 014 and see what 014 gives us. So 006 is going to turn into 014. So this card is actually going to go away. And you frighten a little crab, and it scurries into a small hole hidden among the weeds. So this over here now comes out. So what's the difference between these? We had that before, we had that before, we had that before. We don't have this 016 search action, which was not here before. So I think it's a free action. So let's go ahead and search this 016. Is there another 16? There is another 16 in here. Because I think that was 014. And the way you kind of tell if you're doing something right when you're moving from card to card, they make sure you really don't mess up here. So for my 006, we saw the 014, which was kind of like right over here. You probably won't be able to see it on my finger. But on the back of the 014 card, it says 006 with a thumbs up. They're letting you know that, hey, from 006, you can get to 0014. So we know that we didn't make a mistake there in doing that. We know that that was a completely valid play, and that was a completely good card to upgrade. So for our 006, we actually got a metal gear wheel. Wow, that could definitely come into play later on. A small metal gear wheel found in the lair of a crab. So this is actually going to go into our journal here, because that's a journal card. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So what I need to do is, I need to look at some of these other cards and make sure I don't see any other numbers on here, because I might have missed them in previous plays. So I'm going to take a second to actually really look at these cards, because that right there is something that I know I need from previous playthroughs. So if you play through games like Time Stories and stuff like that, sometimes you don't get to finish the game on the first playthrough. So when you play through a second time, you do have some previous knowledge of things, but you kind of need that because these games aren't necessarily made to be completed on the first time. So that's one of the nice things about it. The replayability is very high. So, I mean, there we go. That 016 gave us this Metal Gear wheel, which I know I need later. This game is definitely being much nicer to me this time than my previous playthrough. I think we pretty much have done everything here. Although, can you do a second 016 action? Because it is free. Can you do them more than once? I am trying to remember if you can or not. How many times can you do an action? I'm trying to remember how many times you could do an action. I want to say you might be able to do them multiple times, and maybe that's what you're supposed to do here. Let me take a quick look through the rules real quick. Everybody go grab something to drink or something while I look this up real quick, because now I am curious. I may have never really thought about that before in doing some of these actions actually multiple times. That's something that really never actually kind of crossed my mind in being able to do. But I guess that's the reason why sometimes there's multiple cards here in some of these sets of numbers. A permanent event, temporary event, an item, quest item. Because I think it tells you when you can't take it again. I think I might try to. Is there another? Well, I guess there's one way to tell. Is there another 016 card in the box? Well, there is. All right, let's do that. I think you can do these multiple times. Something I don't really think I ever really thought of. It tells you when you can't do the action again because it comes out with one of these permanent cards attached to it. So the symbol down here is a spot or observe. I can't do that one again because this permanent card came out that has a matching symbol there. So I know I can't do these again. Nothing came out over here. Essentially, I can do this again. It's a free action. Let's do this. I think I just had a breakthrough with this game. I had not thought about that before. I was only treating these as single-use actions. Silly me. So what the flavor text on the card actually says is, you insert your arm into the hole again, but find nothing worthwhile. You notice that the ground around the tunnel is loose and crumbling. You could easily dig it out and hide in there. So now that it's completed, this card comes out and it won't let me do this again. So that's very interesting because that actually gives me a combat for a star there. But it doesn't really have an action on there. to dig that, though. So I'm not really too sure how that works. I'll have to think about that one for a little bit. But I do have a shovel in my inventory over here, so digging isn't going to be a problem for me if we do get to that point. We don't want to do the shovel yet. We want to do the shovel when we get back into the stone, so I think it's time to spend 2 to actually move along. And I'm actually trying to look at any more of the board to see where I could possibly draw more cards, because I've really filled this board in today, and I've seen a lot of things that I've never seen before. I think we're basically to a point where we're just going to go ahead and move. I got to spend 2 movement to actually do that, so it's going to cost me 2 cards. Oh, there's my bolus again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4. I think we're going to put the bolus back into our hand because you know what? That was pretty damn nice to have. That was a very, very nice weapon. We could always attach that to the club, and it just gives us a bunch of stars. So we have a couple things to build, I think, right now. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to build a few things. We're going to go ahead. We're on a piece of land, on a territory here that actually has stone on it. So it's -2 to the cards. So it's the best I'm going to be able to do. So we're just going to go ahead and draw 1 card. A splint. That could come in handy if we get injured. Let's hope we do not get injured. So we're going to go ahead and discard that. So we just built a shovel. So let's throw that over there and put a 4 on this. And I think what we might do is actually build the bolus again and actually attach it to the club. And I'll show you how that works real quick. So since I'm on a piece of land here with the stone, it's going to be -1, so it's going to be 1 more. Rudimentary flint. I don't know if I need this because I already have the fire into play. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually just going to go ahead and discard that. I'm going to combine the bolus with the club. What happens is, since they have the same card verbiage on there, let me grab both of these and kind of come over here into my computer here. And they say aggressiveness down here in the corner. Since both cards have the same keyword on there, they can be put together. So what you do is, the club had 3 on there, the bolus has 1, so that's actually going to take my club up to a 4, and then it's going to allow me to use both during combat. So it kind of gives me an extension, you're combining items, I guess you could say, which is kind of a good thing. So I just crafted my couple of things. I don't have any keywords, any fetish keywords yet, so I have no idea if that's ever going to come into play. My relax card. I don't really need a star or a 7 yet. So I think what we might do is... spend a card and look for 034. Do another 34 look real quick. Because I have a feeling there might be something else for us to see out there. So let's try that. We're going to do another 34 action. It's going to be a card. Dark Regeneration. I only have 3 cards in hand, so let's go ahead and keep this one. Just because it is one of my personal cards. And we're going to grab the next 34 card out of the box. I believe. Yep, 34. Bright red seaweed is clinging tightly to the rock. Perhaps it's edible. You tear a piece of seaweed and give it a taste. As soon as your tongue starts to tingle, you spit it out immediately. However, it's flexible and strong, and strong stem might prove useful. Immediately after this is revealed, take a 029 card from the adventure deck if available. There is a 029 card here. So this basically was just kind of something that happened, like a temporary event. 29. red seaweed. The stem of this red seaweed is both flexible and strong. It could easily be crafted into some nice cordage or as a component in other equipment. When this seaweed can be seen in your terrain card, you have the vine resource. Oh, nice. So now whenever I craft stuff, I have that. And this is a journal card. So this goes into my journal card. I'm actually collecting some very, very, very good items today to assist me in what I'm doing. I don't know if there's another 34 card in the deck. I think we're going to go ahead and cheat and actually look and see if there is. Nope, there isn't. So I guess we can't do that action anymore. So I think we're going to come over here and we're going to go ahead and flip this and see what we have here. A Lifejacket. This may come in handy. Now, if I do this, I'm going to be down. I'm going to use my last die because I have 4 dice as a solo game. So I can only have 4 items in my inventory. So this is kind of a tough decision here. I mean, it's an actual item, and it would help me out with swimming if I was to come back over here. I think we're going to go ahead and take it, because I can always possibly just discard an item later on. So we're going to have to go ahead and take this item. It's definitely going to help for swimming. I mean, I would avoid this, because you need 9 stars over here. And that's just kind of insane. It would give me -3, but still 9 stars over here is just completely nuts. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. So, since we actually just did that, we have to draw out 015. The terrain is split in 2 by a small bay. The waves break and crash loudly against the jagged rocks. Getting to the other side is not going to be an easy task. It's actually going to cost me 3 cards, and I need at least 1 star. So, this is going to go here, and it looks like to move across this, we're going to have to do a balance or jump ability here. So I need at least 1 star. I think what we're going to do is we're going to play a little safe here. I have cards. Let's do this action, but let's actually spend a couple of cards here. I can discard this card during the cost step of an action. I'm not going to use an item because I don't think I don't have anything that's going to let me balance. No, I don't. So during the cost step, I can discard a couple of cards here. -3 cards. So rather than draw 3 cards, I'm not going to draw any cards. So we're going to discard that. And I think I'm going to use my relaxed card here. I can discard this card during the result step, which is after cost, and give myself a star, which is what I need to. So I think what I'm going to do is not draw any cards, play those 2 cards from my hand, and actually then draw out an 017 card. And 017 is going to go right over here. So what happens here? Put an 017 or 09 card into place in the space shown unless it's already there. Each character involved moves their figure onto it. All right, so this actually stays here, and we would move on to this. So, I see there's a graveyard here, there's a submarine, there's a 164 map. So let's do this map action first and see what we have here. Let me actually see what I have in my hand and see if I want to do any of these things before we do some of these other things that I haven't really done before. The following action applies as long as you have this in hand. If at least 1 card is revealed during the result step of an action you are involved in, you may return your freezing or frightened or hungry nauseated state. You may take the following action unless there are experience points. Oh, okay, so we can't do this one. So this one we probably should just discard. Still no fetish, so no side quests. So we're all the way over here, and I think we're going to take this action for... There's a map on there. There's so many different actions, and I don't have all these symbols memorized yet. It's a go see or investigate. So it's a 164. Wow, this one's jumping up there. So let's see what the hell we have here. All right, 164. You gaze upon the wide, endless ocean. The surf is rough and choppy, and the salty spray from the waves is enough to tell you that the water is freezing. So this is almost another card like what we had before. Swimming away will certainly not be easy. On the other hand, if you stay here for more than a few days, you're likely going to die. The strong current carries you far to the north. Each character takes a 1 to 2 card unless at least one character used the card with the keyword craft from their inventory. So this is just going to sit up here because it has the permanent card, so we're going to leave that alone. Looks like there's a little cemetery here with a prey symbol on there. It costs an action to do this. I haven't done this before. Let's be crazy and go ahead and do it. So it's going to cost us a card. Examine the notes. How about taking a few moments to study the notes that you and your companions took during your previous expedition to the 7th continent? This is an action for doing a decipher. Take 2 050 cards. Keep one and return the other. Discard this. So I can take that action at any time, which is kind of interesting. We may do that here shortly. But I think what we're going to go ahead and do is pray. I don't think we have any cards that help us with praying right now. So that was the card we drew for that. So we need to go ahead and do our 039 now and see what we come up with here. You come across 2 marked graves, very likely the crew of the submarine. The ground here is very rocky, and whoever tried to bury them here appears to have attempted to dig a proper grave before giving up and covering the bodies with stones in the form of cairns. You meditate for a while, pondering the demise of the deceased while hoping to avoid their fate. Immediately after this is revealed, take a 666 card, and after resolving it, apply the following effect. For each curse card in the discard pile, randomly take 2 cards from the discard pile and shuffle them back into the action deck. Oh wow, and this actually has wood and stone on it. So this is actually going to stay here attached because you can't do that action again. We have to take a 666 card, which... Oh, wow. I do have 666 cards in here. Okay. Again, new territory. I haven't done this before. A veil of fog mysteriously forms around the grave. Oh, boy. Combat. You have apparently disturbed a tormented spirit. The other worldly creature vanishes if we win. If not, I have a feeling we're going to get cursed or something bad is going to happen. So, we are in combat. We're going to have to draw 2 cards. Well, we can draw 2 cards. We need at least 7 stars here. So we're definitely going to be using our club, which is going to give us pretty much 5 stars there. And I think what we might do is do the Valiant Hearts Shall Not Fail. And actually pretty much not fail at this. I'm still going to have to draw 2 cards. So I'm kind of torn. Do I want to do that? Do I not? This is going to go down to 3. Now I'm interested to see, the bolus card says discard this. Since it's part of the club, I don't think I discard it right now. I'm not 100% certain on that though, because I combined them. And I don't think you can take apart items once you put them together from what I read in the rules. So I think combining those 2 pretty good together is kind of strong. But considering I don't think you take things apart, we're going to go with that. And like I said, we're going to play this. We're going to have to draw 2 cards. I'm going to put this over here just to make sure it's not one of the cards that I drew. I'm going to still have to draw 2 cards. I got a bunch of stars here. I really didn't need to play that, but I want to see what this take a 1-1 card does for me. I'm going to get to keep one of these 2 cards. Remember, I can choose a card from the discard pile, or Knowledge is Power. I get more experience. Take 103 card for each Knowledge is Power card in the hands of all. I think I'm going to keep the Remember card. Discard this, because I have 4 in there. I get to take a 101 card for that. So let's find a nice, lovely 101 card here. You are feeling increasingly drowsy and struggling to stay awake. You cannot wait to find a safe, comfortable place to rest. Oh, I'm tired. So I kind of need to rest. It's a state card. I kind of need to rest to be able to do this. So I could use my Lifejacket to give me a star, and then I can flip over another card or so. Let's finish all these out first, though. This card is going to get discarded since I used it. I beat this. The otherworldly creature vanishes. This is going to get discarded, the 666 card. Now, there was more text on here. After resolving it, I apply the following effect. For each curse card in the discard pile, randomly take 2 cards from the discard pile and shuffle them back into the deck. So let's see how many curse cards we actually have in here. I see 1. 1, 2. Nice. So I'm going to shuffle all of the discard pile. I'm going to take 4 cards and put them back into my deck here. Oh, and that card did not belong there. That card should have gone into the past. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to flip those back over. And then I'm going to have to reshuffle this whole deck. And since I don't have sleeves on the cards, I'm not riffle shuffling. I wish I would have bought the sleeves. I kind of went all in on the game. The only thing I didn't buy, since I had only gotten into the second Kickstarter, I didn't buy the sleeves. Now I really kind of wish I would have. I was looking at the Pan Swan Asia sleeves on their website, which they are sold out of for this game. So I'm going to have to try to find some sleeves. A little leery about using Mayday because I know Mayday card sleeves sometimes don't have that perfect fit to them. Sometimes their sleeves aren't the most perfect from what I've seen in the past. This needs to go back here because we completed that. But I do want to sleeve this because I have a feeling I'm going to be playing this quite a bit because I'm really enjoying this so far. So let's take a sip of Powerade and see what we have next here on the island. I think what we're going to do is be exploring the submarine next. So we're going to explore the submarine. It's a search or examine icon. So we need O22. It's free because it's 00. The cranes support the submarine above the water by chains attached to either end. So this card looks like it's going to be going off the board. They actually say when your card kind of goes off the board, you're supposed to pick up a bunch of cards. I'm kind of going to shift everything over. I think it's kind of silly to have to actually discard all these cards with everything I've explored so far. I'm just going to shift everything over one. I don't know if this is cheating or not, but we'll say house rule. I'm making the call on this one. The one thing I didn't do when I pulled this card out was really look on there for any numbers. I don't see any numbers. So each chain runs through a pulley located at the top of a crane. Lowering the submerging and the submarine obviously requires great precision and skill. So it looks like there's a strength. Do I have anything that's strength over here? I do not. Oh, I do. My rope. Oh, I could use my rope and actually get a star and actually do this. We're going to use our rope. I think the first thing we might actually do is maybe use one of the life jackets. Well, no, I don't. We're tired, but I don't think we're going to have anything bad happen to us here, I don't think. I am going to use a rope and take the rope down to 1, which is going to give me -1 to my draw and or a star and a 7-star. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 1 because I only need 1 star, which that gives me. Actually, well, no, I don't need to draw anything because it's only a star and it's -1 and or a star. I'm not going to draw anything. We're going to go ahead and succeed on this just by using the rope. I am extremely glad I kept that. And one of my bone dice looks like it has a crack in it. We're going to have to look at that and make sure that some of the other dice in there. That one looks like it's really didn't come out of the mold too well. So we're going to say we succeeded at this. Because it's -1 and a star. That's exactly what we needed. The chains do not break. The submarine is back into the water. Return the terrain card you are standing on. Oh, return the terrain card you are standing on and replace it with a 024 card. Discard this. So this is going to get discarded here, and I need a 024 card. So this card comes off. The submarine is in the water. Now, set off as quickly as you can. You never know what can happen. This comes out. And pretty much everything is still here. This card is going to... What did it say this card does? Return the terrain card. So this one actually, the 017 gets returned. Return is back into the box. I want to take a close look at this card and make sure I'm not missing anything on it. No numbers or nothing. Doesn't look like it. I was hoping so. So I think right now we're going to do another search action, which is free, which is going to let me do card 037. Stepping into the submarine, you see the former occupants apparently took anything of use. This is going to come over here. Entering the control room, you immediately check the remaining fuel. All you have to do is restart the engine, and you'll be able to leave this blasted place. So, this actually has a stair symbol on there, which means everybody in the party would have to do it. It has a hand symbol on here, which is a take or handle action. It's draw a card, and it has 21 and then a flag with the gears on there. Now, I have a gear in my under the satchel and journal here, and it adds +6, so I would get to take card 27. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's draw a card. 2, 3, 4. I only have 4. We're going to go ahead and just keep this since I can keep it. I look at my metal gear here. It's +6. So +6 to 21 is 27. So if I look at 27, it has a thumbs up from 37, which is what this is. So I know I'm taking the right card here. And this is, a stick on the control panel seems to engage the engine. You fit the metal gear wheel on the panel and pull the stick down, but nothing happens. At second glance, the mechanism seems to take 2 gear wheels to restart the engine. Disheartened, you head back out of the submarine. So, it looks like we need another gear wheel. So we need to go around the island and try to find another gear wheel now. Now I'm trying to think of what I missed on these cards and where I have left to explore, because I've explored the hell out of the island. I have a swim action up here, which is 7 cards. I have my life jacket. The strong current carries you too far to the north. Each character takes 2 cards. I don't really think that swim action is going to do much for me. I have a feeling we need to come back over here maybe to this body, or maybe look at a couple of these other icons that are up here that maybe I didn't search thoroughly through. I don't have anything else to craft. All right, so I think we got to get back across this. So this is going to cost me 3 cards, which I really don't want to do. Because then it's going to cost me 3 more cards to get back there. So I guess we're going to have to do this. We need to flip over 3 cards, and we're going to need 1 star. Well, there's our star. 1, 2, 3. There's a curse. Remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think we're going to keep any of these because I already have a remember card in my deck, but I got a star. So we made it over that. We get to move back to here. I'm going to take a move action. Since fire is over here, I can move here at a -1 action, so I move there for free. Moving up. Oh, you know what? Well, before I do that, let's do this O34 action right now. Did we do all the O34s? Yep, we did all the O34s. So there's no O34s. So we're going to take that free action to move onto the fire. Free action to move up here. Was there any other O18s? There is an O18. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do another Go See action. We're going to flip over a card. It's a curse, which is no big deal. It was basically just a card to do it. It had a 0 success factor to it. I've reached the northern end of the island. You have no idea how much time it would take you to reach an area with more abundant resources, but one thing is certain, if you stay on this barren slab of rock, you are bound to starve. The many reefs that surround the island would surely wreck any craft trying to approach or leave. However, you might be able to swim through them. The sea is calm right now, but is not the right time. But this is not a time to be reckless. So this goes here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this search action over here on this body, which is going to cause us to flip a card over. As long as you have this in hand. Thing, pray, compass. I don't think we need that. Although, you know what? One of these... I'm going to get rid of the Dark Regeneration and keep this just in case. So, O31 and return this. So we got to find O31 real quick. All right, so this goes back. This is an 11. This gets returned right there. The waves violently pound the rock, splashing your face with sea spray. You inch towards the body along the slippery rocks, trying your best not to fall into the water. We have to do a balance with a couple of cards here, or we're going to fall into the water. I need a +3. I don't really have anything that has balance on there. That kind of stinks. Man, I need 3 stars for this. If I want to take that action. Let me find Remember real quick, and let me look through here and see what card I can do for Remember from the discard pile. Do I have something that's going to give me stars here? I think I do. Yes. The valiant heart shall not fail. I think what I might do is play Remember, which is a think or compose myself. I choose a card from the discard pile and add it to my hand. So I discard that and play that. I'm going to take this balance action and I'm going to use this card, which gives me 2 stars, and I'm going to draw 2 cards just to play it safe. 1, 2, and would you believe that I failed? Because those stars don't match up. And I don't have anything that gives me a plus to my lucky 7. And I needed 3 stars. So since I played this card, it says take a 101 card. So I guess we got to take a 101. Let's do that first. You are feeling increasingly drowsy and struggling to stay awake. You cannot wait to find a safe place to rest. I'm tired. Oh boy. And since that has the symbol on here, the blue card up here with the red X on there, I have to count the red state hands in my hand, of which I have basically 2. I lose 2 cards from my deck here. And that was a Deadfall Trap as well as a walking stick. The walking stick I really could have used right now. But what are you going to do? We spent this card to try to do this. I get to keep one of these cards. I think I'm going to keep the Remember card and get rid of the snowshoes. I somehow might need to use my Lifejacket to rest to actually get rid of a couple of these cards here. Because I have 2 state cards in my... Oh, you know what though? This one goes away. They are the same thing. They are tired. I almost forgot about that again. This one goes back into the box. I am glad I remembered that, because I didn't remember that the last time I played this. So that's going to get returned to the box. So I only have 1 tired state, because you can't have multiple state cards of the same thing like I had mentioned before. But what does happen here? A wave breaks over the embankment, knocking you down and drenching you to the bone. Each character involved takes a 102 card. I have a feeling this might be an injury or something. It is so cold your hands and feet are starting to go numb. You need to find a heat source soon or you will be in danger of hypothermia. You are freezing. This has a blue symbol on it again, so 2 state cards, or 2 cards are gone. If you have the fire resource, return this. Well, I have fire out on the board. So I'm guessing I get to return this to the box because it is out. So I need to try this again, I think, because I'm not really too sure what else to do. I'm trying to look here to see if I missed any other numbers, if I missed any other exploration or anything. If I am missing something on these cards, I'll tell you, I am not seeing it today. I need to find one other gear, and I am not certain where it is at. I guess we're going to have to take this action again. And I think I'm going to use my Remember card again that I just took. And we're going to try to basically take... I really don't want to take that Valiant Hearts. Do I have anything in here that would help with a balance type of test? I don't know if I saw anything with that. The walking stick helps with walking. I don't know if I saw anything that has like a balance action. You think the walking stick might help with that as well, but it doesn't appear it does. I don't have anything in my skill deck that helps me with balancing. Ain't that just a bummer? Do I have anything? This Forewarned is Forearmed card is probably the best thing I can take, which basically has a star on it. So that's going to give me 1 star, so I might have to draw like 3 cards to do this, which I really don't want to do because I'm getting kind of thin here. But we're going to try to take his balance action again. I'm going to do 3 cards this time, and I'm going to use this card to give me a star, so I need 2 more stars. Oh. And I failed again. I got a curse and 2 stars that are not facing the right direction. I guess I'm going to keep Knowledge is Power, although I don't really think that's going to come into play. These cards are going to get discarded, and I have to take another 102 card. It's cold, so cold your hands and feet are starting to go numb. You need to find a heat source soon or you will be in danger of hypothermia. You are freezing. If you have a fire resource, return this. There's no blue card on there, so I guess we're just going to return it since the fire source is out. I don't know if that means you have to have the fire source on you or not. Not really too sure about that, but it's on the board. All right, I'm running out of ideas here. I'm not really too sure what else to do other than drawing like 4 cards to try to do this, which is really going to screw up my game, because I really don't have much more. I don't know where this last gear is, but we're going to try to do it again and do 4 action cards. And I don't even know if that's going to leave me enough to get back over there to do this. Oh, there's a curse, 1 star. Actually, I got it this time. I do have 3 stars. I did draw a curse. I get to keep 1 of these. I think we're going to get rid of the Knowledge is Power and keep the camouflage outfit. And let's actually see what happens here now. It only took us 3 tries, and most of the cards, I'm not really too comfortable with this now. You managed to keep balance. Take an 032 card from the Adventure deck if available. So take an 032 card. Yep, there's an 032 card in here. Now that the danger is past, you search the body, wasting no time. A Metal Gear wheel. We found it. It was on the body. That's going to go back over to there. Discard this card and replace it with 139. Judging by the insignias on his jacket, this man was once a French naval officer. Despite being worn and faded, you can still make out a name, FT-16 La Rochelle. Probably the ship to which the man was assigned. Unfortunately, there is nothing else worthwhile on him. This goes over here. Now we kind of need to book it back to over there and try to get there without going through the rest of these cards. This card gets discarded and is going to go over there. We get to move here for free because of the fire. Get to move there because it's a 0 cost. We're taking the action to do this, which is going to be 3 cards, and I need a star. Which we get a star. Oh, and there's a raft. The raft might not be a bad idea to keep. I think we're going to get rid of Wild Imagination. And maybe keep the raft just in case if something happens. So we made it across here, and we're moving over to here. We're going to do this 037 action again. Or no, we need to do this action down here, which is a card, which we get to add 6 to, which is going to be, actually, since we have 2, we get to add 12 to it this time. So it's going to be a card to take the action. And I wonder if I was supposed to actually take a card to do, to move. Because when I was over here, I was taking this action. So I think it's a balance action to move across. I don't know if you need to pay the movement cost for it or not. That card's a little confusing, going back and forth through there, whether it's a movement, whether you have to pay the movement or not. I mean, because I think it's just an action you're doing from there. Because it says then you move, each character moves their figure onto it. Okay. I would say I don't have to pay the card for that. So this card is for the 037. I have 2 gears, which match the symbols on the blue flags now, so that's plus 12. Plus 12 onto 21 is 33. So we get to take card 33 and see what happens now that we have both gears. The submarine's engine rumbles to life and begins to steadily hum as it settles into gear. You pull away from the shore and leave the island without further delay. Oh, and this actually has a thumbs up from 37, and we're on 37, so we know that that's the right card. You pull away from the shore and leave the island without further delay. The control room is cramped and uncomfortable. Despite the noise from the engines and the head-spinning fuel smell, you are all too happy to be the captain of the submarine, at least for a little while longer. The other side of this card says, after navigating for about 20 minutes, you can suddenly make out the wild coast of the 7th continent in the distance. Luckily, the gauges indicate that you have just enough fuel to get there. I take 3 003 cards. There's a lot of 001 cards here. Where are the 003 cards? There's 2s. There's a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s here. 3 003 cards. 1, 2, 3. These look like they might be memories from my previous... Oh, they're experience points. Banish the 2 metal gear wheel cards that are under the satchel and journal. So both of those are going to go to the banish. Return all the cards on the board and in the past. Oh, wow. Return. Okay, so this is going to get discarded. Return all the cards on the board and in the past, and then banish a green 017 card. All right, let's look at these 003 cards here real quick. Oh, they're just experience points. They go into the satchel. All right, so that's another experience point. All right, banish the 2 gear wheel cards. Return all the cards on the board and in the past. Wow, so this whole thing gets wiped? This whole thing gets wiped. All right. So all of these cards are going to get returned. All right, I don't know if I need to return these right now. We're going to let those sit there, and we'll return... Well, maybe I guess I should return it, because it does say to return them. So this may take a second for me to return all these cards, because there's a lot of cards here. and finding where all these go is going to be quite interesting. There's 37. 24. 164. 39. So I've never made it this far in this adventure before, so I'm not really too sure what to expect next. I was kind of hoping that that would have said, that the back of that card would have said, you win, or you basically lifted the curse. Don't know if that's going to happen on one of the next cards I draw or not. Maybe before I put all these cards away, let's actually draw that card, so everybody doesn't have to sit here and watch me put all those away. I have to banish an 017 card. So are there any 017 cards in here? Let's put one of those back in, if there is. There is. I don't see an 017 card in here. So let's find an 017 card. Banish that. So that leaves me with a gold 017. That's nice. Put into play. The active player chooses 038 if I went north, northwest, 132 if I head north, or 198 if I headed northeast. Wow. From some of the different areas that I looked at, I don't really remember what they had stated was in from those grounds over there. I think we might just head north, northwest 30 and take 38 just because it's the first one. You know what we're going to do here? All right, my life jacket has 4. 1, 2 is 38. 3, 4, 132. 5, 6 is 198. 1, 2, 38. So we're going to stick with that. We're going to go with 038. 038. A sandy beach runs along the coast and towards the north. It appears to give way to increasing vegetation and a greater likelihood of finding wood. Oh wow, there is more to this, and I am just about out of cards. So this goes here. I don't have my fire anymore because I'm on a new part of the land. We are actually in set 2. So 2's coming out. So, you know what? We need to change up our music. Area 2. So, don't hear as much crashing water. So this is going to go into the past now. I have an 036 card here that I can search for free. So I guess we're going to do that because we don't have any cards left. So, sharp rocks at the end of the beach might prevent you from going further, so you consider going around them to explore the shore from the edge of the sea. Considering the temperature of the water and the strong current, using a craft would certainly be wiser than venturing to swim. I do have the ability to make a raft. I don't have the cards. I only have 3 cards left. So I'm trying to find things to do that don't cost much. I guess we're going to flip this for free. Trapped. You are suddenly stopped in your tracks. Your ankle is caught in a strange artifact. A lever on the side seems to activate the gears. Will you push it or pull it to free yourself? Wow. I'm guessing I could probably get injured here. I guess we're going to push it. So it's 0 card, 0 thing. It's a mandatory action you have to do. So 297, and then this gets banished. So we go to card 297, which is all the way at the back here. of which there's one. You hear a snap as the trap splits into releasing your ankle at once. Take 1/0/0/3 card. I am just all over the place with cards today. Do I have 0/0/3 cards in here? Was I supposed to put any of those back? 0/3. Nope, I don't have any 0/0/3. Okay, just making sure we don't have any 0/0/3s there. 0/0/3. A memory from your previous expedition comes to mind. Jimmy, the military demolition specialist, keeps repeating if a stupid rock is stopping you, y'all get rid of it faster with dynamite than with a pickaxe. Another experience point. I have like 5 experience, of which I don't think I'm going to get to spend, because I'm pretty much about to end the game here. Because because I guess I keep playing until I draw a curse card. So I guess we're going to need to start exploring this. We put out card 54. I can't believe that this adventure did not just end there when I got into that damn sub. The wind whistles through the boughs of the tall pines, carrying both a scent of sea spray and a faint underlying smell of rot. Wow. These are all number 2s. We have one here. We have one here. And we have one here. I have a search action here, which is going to let me draw a card for 053. I guess we're going to do that. Learn by doing. You may discard this card during the cost step for -3. I think we're going to go ahead and do this because I don't know if I need this camouflage outfit right now. So we're going to keep that because it's -3. That might help me go a little longer. And pull card 53 here. You walk along the beach searching for any usable debris that the tide could have carried here. You find a small wooden chest half buried in the sand and looking intact in spite of the rough surf. One character involved in the following action may discard one card with the keyword skill from their hand or inventory in order to obtain a star during the result step. This is going to go over here. So I cannot do that action again. But I need a key, draw 2 cards, 2 stars. If I discard a card with the keyword skill, I can get rid of my craft, but I really don't want to do that. I can use my shovel, which would give me -2 and or a 7 star, because that has the key on. Oh, my club actually would let me automatically open this. Because it has 2 stars on there. Although I hate to use my club for that. I think we're going to use the shovel because we haven't used the shovel yet. So it's going to give us -2 blue, which I don't really think we mind, and or 7 star. So this is going to go down to 3 since we used it. And I think we're going to draw 2 cards just to try to get the 2 stars. We got 2 stars. I can do a bow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're going to get rid of Dark Whispers and keep the bow just to have an extra weapon in place. Although making a fire here might not be a bad thing to do right now. Although I don't have the torch. We don't really have any cards left, so we're going to have to try to wing it. So we were successful here. Banish this card and replace it with 055. A click. Oh, this gets banished. This is going to go back here. A click lets you know that you have managed to unlock the chest. You open it without further delay, hoping it might contain something useful. Immediately after this is revealed, take a 350 card. Oh, we need a 350. I have not had one of those yet. We have an old compass, of which is an item that we can't use because we have 4 cards out there. I'm thinking the compass might need to come and play here because they're giving you one. So I think what we might do is get rid of the rope because you can discard an item, I believe, at any time. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to look at the rules real quick and just verify that you can discard an item at any time. I remember seeing something like that in the rules. Relinquish an item. A player may relinquish an item from their inventory at any time. In this case, the die is removed from all cards, considering it was. Yep, you cannot deconstruct an item voluntarily. Boom. We're going to do that and keep the compass since it has 4 uses. And it can be used for a couple of different actions. So I think we're going to have to... What we do now is shuffle up the discard pile and then start playing cards out of the discard pile. And every time we draw cards, we will then return them to the discard pile and shuffle them back up and keep playing until we draw a curse, which means we would lose the game. So hopefully, from shuffling, the first thing we draw isn't a curse card to move, because that would kind of stink right now. So since we're to this point of the game, I'm going to actually move the discard pile to me a little closer. So we're not having to reach for it. And we need to do that. So there we go. That's going to allow us to move here. Of which we basically just have to see one of these cards now, because there's really not much else to do. So we're going to shuffle up our discard pile again. And I guess we're going to flip this one first. Take a break. You are nearly asleep on your feet. Each step coming slower and more labored. However, sleeping under the stars in the stony ground and without adequate shelter might make things worse. I have a Lifejacket, which will allow me to take this action. So I'm going to use one of my Lifejacket. We're going to bump it down to a 3. That's going to give me a star. I'm going to draw 2 cards to get another star. And the game's over. A curse card was drawn. So that's it. It's the end of the game. That's what ends the game for you. I thought for certain, getting off that first part of the island, that I was going to possibly be successful in completing this first quest, but I guess I'm going to have to make another attempt at it. So far in playing the 7th continent, I will say I really like it. I think it's really interesting. Taking multiple playthroughs is definitely something that you're going to have to get used to. I didn't have as many states as I did yesterday. Because like I said, when I was playing the game the first time, I think I was actually keeping the state cards and not discarding one when I drew another one like I did today. I think I did most of the rules right. So if I did do anything wrong, let me know. I'll definitely post them in the comments. But it looks like I'm going to have to put everything back in the box, reset this up, and try again. I thought for certain, like I said, once I got to the submarine, that that would basically have been the part to lift the curse. Not being able to spend my experience points yet. I have 5 of them. I'm kind of curious as to when they get spent at this time. I haven't seen or read anything that actually lets me spend them. I think there is something in the game that tells you you can. I don't think any of the cards that I had in there actually let me spend the experience, unless if I was reading them incorrectly. I'm trying to take a quick skim through some of the cards here. This just lets you take more 003 cards. Yep, Knowledge is Power just lets you take more 003 cards, which I think those are. Yeah, those 003 cards are that. Yeah, I don't see anything that lets you spend the experience once you've earned it. But I have to say, I need to get a drink of Powerade for one thing right now. My throat's kind of getting shot after talking probably for the past 2 hours playing this game. One thing they kind of recommend in the book is set your play sessions to 1 to 2 hours. because that actually lets you utilize the save feature in the game, which is pretty slick. Go out there and watch the video that Serious Pulp did for the game, and they'll actually show you how to do the whole save mechanism. I'm not going to go through that right now at the end of this video. But it's definitely interesting, and they say that sometimes it's good to do that during the longer scenarios because it kind of clears the board and lets you restart. Now that I kind of know where the two gears are in the game, I will dart for those very quickly now and try to get to this second part of the island, which, like I said, I'm not too sure why the music just stopped once I died, but that was kind of flippin' ironic, I think. That once I think I drew that curse card that it seemed to stop there. But this is pretty cool. Going in all this, definitely going in all in on this game for the second Kickstarter, like I said, definitely wasn't cheap, but from playing this a couple of times, I can see that this game is going to get a lot of play, and I have a feeling this is definitely going to be worth a lot of the money. I don't know if I'll ever be able to talk Kim into playing this one. She's not huge into the story style games like this. I do have several friends though who do want to try this, so we're going to have to try some multiplayer games. I don't know if I want to do a 3 or 4 player game. I definitely want to try with 2 people and see how it goes, and see how maybe splitting up and exploring different parts of the island, how that would work. That'll be kind of interesting. In this first scenario, I don't really think there's too much that requires you to stay together to have to do some different things. Some of the different actions has the staircase on there where people have to be, but I don't really think that's going to be too required. So I guess let's flip back to the big screen while we're going through our talk here. I don't know. So far, I'm really liking this. It's the way you're able to go through the cards and just set everything up is really interesting. And I really like the way that they have when you're replacing one card with another, especially if it's a card like when I saw like that number on the card and it told you draw this other one, you know, it has like that number on there with a thumbs up. So you know if you're coming from one card to another, when you're replacing the cards like that, that you did it properly. And if you don't see that symbol, that, you know, you might have done something wrong and something's not correct here. That's a really good catch, you know, for people who might make a mistake, because there's so much going on in this game. It's very easy to make a mistake. Like I said, hopefully I didn't make too many. If I did, I was trying to refer to the rules where we were playing and catch myself on a couple of things. And I think I did actually catch a few things. But wow, both times I played this, I've died, or I guess I basically ran out of energy, I guess you could say. And I guess I just need to, I thought, you know, for a while there, the way those cards that I had drawn when I had gotten the food and having the fire set up, that was definitely going to help me extend my longevity, which it did. I made it much further than I did the first time I played. But we still have some more adventuring to do. But I think we're going to call it. We probably won't be back with a video until next Sunday, probably. I believe next Saturday is tabletop day. I will be down at Recess Games, where I will be doing streaming pretty much all day on Saturday. Sunday, we might try to play a game if we're ready for it. Wednesday, I have an interview for the podcast, so I won't be doing a stream Wednesday evening. But yeah, that's another thing I need to go do right now, is try to get a podcast out. And that may be a day late and not come out until tomorrow now. Because after doing this, I don't know if I have the voice to record a podcast right now. So the podcast may be a day late this week. But other than that, I'll work on getting this uploaded to our YouTube channel. So check out and subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/whatamplayingnow. Also, give us some love on Twitch, twitch.tv/whatamplayingnow. Subscribe to us there. We definitely would like that. And then keep an eye out for the podcast. Episode 201 will be coming out in the next day or so, hopefully. Other than that, everybody, thank you for watching. I need to reset all these cards and pick this game up. Other than that, everybody have a great week gaming, and we'll see you later. Thanks for joining me. Bye.